Hi guys. Okay, we're going to continue on with Spider-Man today. We're going to look a little bit at the rhythm going on. So previously we've been working on which notes to play. Now, because we're working on the rhythm, we're going to work on when to play those notes. Okay, so a few things we just need to go over first here. So, first thing is this little 4/4 up in the corner. Now, this means a couple of things, but the main thing it's going to mean for us today is that there are 4 beats in every bar. So in every bar in this piece, there are going to be 4 beats. So let me write that down for you now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay. Right, next thing to go over. This note here under the spy, this little dot with a line coming under it. Now, you guys may remember that we've talked about this in the past. We call it a quarter note or a crotchet note, depending on your preference. And what that means is that this note basically goes for one whole beat. Okay, and we don't start the next note until we've got to the beat 2 in this case. Okay. Now the next thing we need to have a look at here is these notes, which are called eighth notes or quavers, again depending on your preference, but they both mean the same thing. And what they mean is that each of these notes, so the duh and the man, go for half a beat each. Okay, so this is a quarter note, goes for 1 beat. This is an eighth note, goes for half a beat. Okay? And then the last thing we're going to talk about is this guy right here. This is what is called a half note rest. Okay, and as you remember, a rest is shows us that we're not going to play. And because it's a half note rest, it means that we're not going to play for 2 beats. So, for all the way across from starting on this 3 and going all the way over 4, we're not going to play. All right? So, we've got our 1, 2, 3, and 4 written under here. But as I was just talking about, these notes right here, these eighth notes or quaver notes, only go for half a beat. So what that means is that this man lands in between the 2 and the 3. And you can see that right there. There's a big gap in between the 2 and the 3. So, in order for us to be able to know when to play these beats that fall in between beats, what we like to do in music is rather than just counting 1, 2, 3, 4 and sort of guessing where this one should go in the middle, what we do is we write and in between. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You guys may have heard that. If you ever heard a musician counting off before they start to play, they go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and before they go, what they're doing is they're making sure that they're playing with the beat. They're orienting themselves to the beat. Okay, so the important thing to know here is that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and is happening under every single bar. Okay, here we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and bit messy, but under everything there's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we always think there is always the idea of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and going on all the time. We call that the beat or the pulse. That's going through everything. Okay. But what it doesn't mean, we don't play all of these notes, because as we just pointed out, we've got rests here, we've got a rest here, we've got a rest here, we've got a little rest here. We don't always play on every single one. So let's take this bar as an example. So on this one, we play on beat number 1, we play on beat number 2, and we play on the and after 2. You can call it the and of 2 or the and after 2. Everything else we're not going to play on. Okay? So what I'm going to do, just to illustrate that a little bit better, I'm going to make all of these grey so that we know we're not going to play them. So grey. Oh, missed a bit. Grey. Okay. Oh, and I should have made that one red as well. I've made a right big zero of this. Okay. So what that means, so what I'm going to do to illustrate that, everything that we're not playing, so what I'm going to do to illustrate that, everything that we're not playing, so this and, this 3, this and, this 4, and this and, I'm going to turn grey like that. All right? Oops. So we now know we're only going to play on the 1, the 2, and the and after 2. So this is what I want you to practice doing. First of all, I want you to practice counting just like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, as you heard, I just keep looping it. When I go to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I then don't go to 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. When I get to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I go back to the beginning. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So first of all, it's a good idea just to get yourself used to counting in that way. You're probably used to counting going all the way up to 10 and beyond. But in this case, we're going to just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and loop it back. Okay. Now the next stage, we're going to make all of the grey ones quiet, but we're still going to keep the red ones at the same volume. And what this is going to do is this just going to remind us that we're playing only on the red ones. So we're going to do this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. So the final step, we're now going to try and say those beat numbers underneath, as well as playing these notes up above. Okay. Now the key thing is we want these notes to happen at exactly the same time as we say the beat numbers underneath. Okay. So we don't want to go 1 and 2 and play them all kind of all over the place. What we want to do is when we say the 1, we want to go 1, and I've played that note exactly at the same time as I've said 1. Okay, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that. So that's what we're practicing this week. I'm going to send you guys over a sheet where I filled in all of this, and the handwriting's a little bit better so you can read. So what I want you to practice doing this week is playing through this song while saying these numbers underneath. And remember, we're only going to play when we see a red number. If we see a grey number, that means we're not going to play. So again, the way to practice this, first get yourself used to going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then, if you want to just remind yourself which are the ones that you're going to play on, you're going to say, make the red ones normal volume, but you're going to make the grey ones quiet. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then finally, you're going to practice playing the notes and saying the beat numbers underneath at the same time. One more time. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And now, try and do as much of this as you can. I think you should be able to do, at the very least, the first 2 lines. But if you can do the whole thing, then fabulous. Because what this is going to do, this is going to set us up very nicely for what we're going to do next time, which is playing along with a metronome. So, as always, if you have any questions or are finding any of this difficult, please leave a comment down below. If you want to send me a video, you can upload that video to YouTube and leave a link to your video below so that I can have a look and give you feedback. Or if you just have a general question, you can put it in the comments down below, and I will get back to you either with a comment of my own, or maybe if you need something explained a little bit more clearly, I'll send you on over a video. Okay, so happy practicing, guys, and I will see you next time.